Good afternoon, and feel most welcome. Today, I feel delighted to bring to you about 5 effective ways of managing your debts, be it as a company or be it as an individual. And if we talk about debt, then many people freak out because debt has actually taken people backwards for those people that have not used the debts very well. And debts have also elevated people so immensely to a point whereby, if at all they couldn't be able to refer to debts, then they wouldn't have reached where they are currently in terms of their lives. So, when you talk about debt, this is money that does not belong to you. This is money that definitely belongs to somebody. So you take it for a particular purpose for which you have to repay. The Swahili once said, or continuously say that dawa ya deni ni kulipa. Now, as we speak about debt, number one, when we are going to look at the ways in which you can effectively manage your debts, then you must be able to understand that there are good debts and there are bad debts. Now, bad debts when they have not been put into the right use, good debts when they have been put into the good use. So, one way in which you must be able to understand and then manage your debts effectively is you must be able to have a proper plan in place before you pick a debt. Now, many people do not actually understand that before you take a debt, you must know why are you taking this debt, in what type of program are you going to put this debt into, in what kind of a business are you going to use this debt to, what is the expected return of the business, and that expected return, is it able to take care of the business? I mean, is it able to take care of the repayment of the debt as per your agreement, maybe with the person that has lended you, your creditor? So you must have a proper plan. Number one, you must have a proper plan before you take your debt. Number two, once you've had a good plan in place, you must be able to work on what we call your cash flow. Now, cash flow is the lifeline of a business. Cash flow is the blood of any kind of a financial life, either of an individual or a person. So when you have to be able to take debt and then service it very effectively, then you must be able to rework your cash flow. You must be able to check that is that amount that you're going to be receiving continuously able to, number one, service the debt, and then number two, be able to keep the business running. There are some people that might be able to take debt and then they take debt with regards to exact cash flow they are having. Let me explain that point. You can't be having a business that is generating to you 100,000, or not even generating, actually has got a cash turnover of 100,000. Now, the cash turnover does not necessarily mean that that is the profit. So, if you look at the cash turnover of 100,000 and then you take up a particular loan, which definitely needs a repayment of about 70 to 80,000, then it means you might have to take into the profits for you to be able to repay. I mean, you have to be able to take into the capital for you to be able to repay that loan effectively. So, if you've got a turnover of 100,000, you must be able to understand out of this 100,000 turnover, what is my profit in it, and then what is my working capital. So, if at all out of 100,000, your 30,000 is the profit that you're making, then you must understand that when you're taking up the loan, then the repayment amount should not be more than 70% of the profit that you're making, because you want, at the end of the day, the business to grow. So you must rework on your cash flow. Number three, about another strategy of managing your debt. Suppose you've taken a debt and then it is becoming so much huge in terms of it's becoming burdensome. You're finding it very difficult to service it, and the business is going down. The best to do is to do what we call debt restructuring. So debt restructuring is about lengthening the period of the time that you're supposed to be paying the debt, thereby reducing the installment amounts or reducing the repayment amount of money that you're supposed to be giving back. So when you go for debt restructuring negotiations, you must be able to understand now what is it that you're able to pay, how much are you able to get, and how much are you able to service effectively. You remember that when you're going for debt restructuring negotiation, you must understand that it's going to, if you, in as much as you're going to take a long time, you're also going to pay more because the interest shall have accrued, more than probably what you would have expected. But that is the price that you have to pay in order to enjoy the comfort of continuing and sustaining your business. So that is the third thing. You must be able to restructure your debt, very effectively, so that at least you can be able to manage your debts very well. Number 4, you must also be able to arrange your debt and then prioritize them in such a manner that you don't find it difficult to proceed with your business because of a certain debt which becomes a stumbling block. And in that case, I will give you a bit of an example. There are these debts that accrue interests very fast, and so they add more burden into the business or into the life of an individual. So you must be able to put them on the top and then clear them out first, and then go with those debts that are a little bit cheaper and then easier to manage, and at the same time are more friendly. If you pick up debts that are very hostile, for example, there are these debts that we get from the loan applications, from the loan apps that we download on our phones. Sometimes they are very harsh. They end up, doubling the interests that you take. So you must be able to understand your debts and then prioritize them. And then once you've prioritized, you also have to consider the consequences of not paying, probably on time or completely, maybe, defaulting. So if you look at, for example, you secured a debt using your assets, and then the consequence of not paying that is that your asset has to be liquidated in order to recover the loans, then you must be able to put those debts first, because you don't want it to be extinguished. You remember, assets are those, are objects, or they are these investments that you use for continuous production or future benefit, for future profit contributions or generations. So when you secure a debt using your assets, then your assets can be taken over to be able to recover the debt. That means you might not be productive in the coming years. So you must be able to prioritize your loans very well, or your debts very well, such that the consequence, you can look at the consequences, or you can look at the interests accrued. You can look at the hostility versus friendliness. So that is a way in which you can be able to check how to manage the debts. Lastly, you must look at how you can increase your profit, so that at least you can have a better dispensable cash flow or dispensable amounts in order to use in repaying the loans. So if you don't, if you're making lower profits, then you should be able to work by increasing the amount of profits that you get, so that you can be able to finance your debts easily. Otherwise, debts are not bad and debts are not evil. What happens is that what we use or what we do with the debts that we take is what matters, and then how we plan ourselves. So planning is key. My viewers, planning is key. Plan very well for the debts, and then you will find yourself having a better life, and you'll find yourself having a better, management and comfort in terms of your business. Otherwise, at Ecovest Consultants Limited, we are, always available in order to assist you to understand your gearing level, to understand how you can be able to plan your debts, and then make sure that you don't fall out of plan with your finances. Otherwise, have a good weekend.